Hello friends, welcome to Awdhesh Academy. Friends, today we are going to start the lessons for the UPSC 2021 ethics paper. This year paper was a very normal paper. It did not have any revolutionary type of case studies or questions. If you have gone through my book, if you have undertaken this particular course, I am sure that you will be able to write answers of almost all questions. All the case studies were predictable in nature, and therefore you would have no difficulty if you have solved all the case studies of this particular course. So we are going to start the discussion for the UPSC paper of 2021, and today we are going to take up the first question. And the first question was like this: identify 5 ethical traits on which one can plot the performance of a civil servant. Justify their inclusion in the matrix. So friend, this is again a very standard question. We can get these 5 ethical traits from the Nolan principles, which has been thoroughly discussed in this particular course. The difference here is that not only you have to tell about the 5 ethical traits, but also you have to justify the inclusion in the matrix, that is how it is going to add to your performance as a civil servant. So that is something which is an additional point which you have to think creatively and write. So friends, let's start with the answers. And the first trait, as we know, is integrity. Now a civil servant must have the financial, professional, and intellectual integrity. These 3 concepts of integrity we have already discussed. And the officer who is having an integrity will get respect and support from all people, and he will be working fairly and justly. So that is basically the justification of integrity. The second principle is objectivity. What is the meaning of objectivity? The civil servant must make the decisions based on facts, evidence, reason, and merit. That decision should not be based on the personal biases. Now that is what is the meaning of objectivity. Then we can justify. Objective decisions are rational and they are justifiable. Now let's come to the third important trait. And the third important trait is empathy. The civil servants must be able to feel the problems and issues of the citizens by practicing empathy and compassion. Now we all know the meaning of empathy, that is putting ourselves in the shoes of other person and understand the feeling, emotions of that person. And that's a very important trait of the civil servants. This empathy helps the public servant understand the problems of the citizens better and resolve them. Now the fourth important trait is accountability. Now this is also a very important trait, because many civil servants believe that they are like masters. They are doing the things, and why should be they accountable? No. A civil servant is accountable to the public, to the elected representative, to the media, and to the judiciary. So we have to be accountable. So this is another quality, that the civil servant must be accountable for their decisions and action to the public, and they must submit themselves to whatever scrutiny is appropriate to their office. So if they have taken a decision, and if the public want to find out as to what is the cause of the decision, if the decision goes wrong, they must submit and explain as to why the decision was taken, and they must submit to all sort of scrutiny. Now this accountability basically makes a public servant responsible and gain the trust of the citizen. So that is the justification that accountability is also one of the very important ethical principles. The fifth principle we can mention is basically transparency. Civil servants must be transparent in their decisions and action. They should always give reasons for their decisions. That means whenever you take a decision, you must justify the decision, why you have taken the decision. And if the public want to know why the decision has been taken, you should be able to provide that information to them. You should restrict information only when the wider public interest clearly demands it. And therefore, transparency is also one of the very important principles. And if you follow transparency, it inculcates the trust in the citizen. So friends, in this way, we can tell about the 5 important qualities and we can explain the justification of those 5 ethical principles. Thank you very much.